All right, guys, what's going on? This is week 2, actually, week 2 recap of the Telegram 10. So let's get into the first matchup here. We have George and Billy. Hopefully this loads, please. Okay. Sorry, this is coming a little late, guys. I had a really busy week. We had George go to 1-1, and Bill fall to 1-1. Dalvin Cook, one of the best starts of a running back this year so far. He might be the running back one. He's the number 2. I think Eckler is the number 1 still. Russell Wilson had a really good week in Pittsburgh. Godwin has been really like a revelation. He had the most like preseason hype, and he actually lived up to it, which is kind of surprising so far. And Zeke in his flex. Thielen hasn't even played. So like Georgia's team, I said this last week. Georgia's team is fine. Like it's a really good team. His best players like Zeke. I mean, he has put 19, but Thielen's hasn't had that great of a start so far. Edelman hasn't had one. Breda's done okay. Like his team, like he's gonna be in the mix, I think. And Bill's team is pretty good too. He has Chubb, the two-head monster, Kamara and Chubb. They just didn't really. Well, Chubb played really well. Kamara kind of a stinker game, and Breeze is out, so it'll be interesting to see how much that affects him. Cooks and John Brown, two solid options that week. Fournette will start playing better as well. There's nothing he could have done on the bench, but you got. I think these are updated, so I think Bill's team and Georgia's team, those were the 4th and 5th place teams going against each other this week. We will go to my game. Other than George, these my team and Gunn were the 2 highest scoring teams in the league this week. Unfortunate for me that I did not score 8 more points. Raheel had a really good week. He had the second most points this week. He had so I was going into this game up, I believe 18 points, and he only had Julio left. And it was looking pretty good until Julio had that screen pass for the long 60-yard touchdown to win the game for not only the Falcons, but also for Raheel. So good for Raheel. He had a really good week, and his bench played really well too. He's got Emmanuel Sanders. He has Deshaun Watson on his bench, which was a good move. That's what won him the game. He started Brady over Deshaun Watson, which is kind of a bold move because I know the Dolphins suck, but I mean Brady. I mean, he has games where he doesn't really, he plays really well, but it doesn't reflect in his fantasy scores. So to start Brady over Watson, I think to me personally was a kind of a bold move. And John Ross, really good week. He had a 60-yard touchdown as well in garbage time that killed me. My team didn't really play that well this week. I know I scored like the 3rd highest points, but a lot of that was to Lamar Jackson. And everyone else was kind of just average, I would say. There was nothing I could have done on my bench at all. It was just kind of came down to Hopkins not playing as well. Basically my 2 wide receivers that I picked number 1 and 2, who now one of them has been traded. They didn't play up to their potential, and that kind of screwed me over a little bit. But I'm still happy with my team. I'm still second in the league because Raheel is the first ranked team. He's the only 2-0 team in the league, and I am second because I have the most points out of anyone else that's a 1-1 team. Mo won last week by a very thin margin of 103.1 to 101.8. He did that with Big Ben only scoring 3 points. He was led by Galladay and Ridley, 2 really good young wide receivers right there. Ridley's had a really nice year. Also, Metcalf, too. Very good year. Look at his wide receivers. All these guys are very young. It's basically because of Tyreek Hill being out. So once Tyreek Hill comes back for him, that's going to help him. And Le'Veon He's been a complete workhorse so far. He started Ben Roethlisberger over Aaron Rodgers, which is interesting, very interesting. But he still won anyway. And Kaleem falls to 0-2. I believe Kaleem is the only 0-2 team. But that obviously does not mean he's out of it. He has still a good chance to win. Deshaun Jackson, that was kind of. I mean, if he got anything out of that one flex position, he would have won. I mean, he could start anyone on his bench. Tough for him to pull off, though. I mean, he still had over 100 points. Connor, Aaron Jones, really good weeks. It really just came down to Deshaun Jackson not scoring anything, and Baker really having a pedestrian game against the Jets defense, who has literally no corners. Um, even after that Browns game, I'm not convinced at all. I do not like what I've seen so far from them. They should have really went in there and really killed them. I know they only. I mean, maybe they didn't have to do all that because they still won 23-3. But at least Baker's performance should have been a little bit better. He didn't look that great to me, and personally, in that game. We had Yates pull out another squeaker versus Hassan. I believe this was a comeback victory. I know Odell had 25 points. And that probably, I'm trying to think if he had any other Monday night game players. No, it looks like Odell really won that game for Hassan on Monday night. Or sorry, for Yates on Monday night. Yates has Cam Newton as the starting quarterback. That's not going to last. He probably had to pick somebody up this week because he has no one on his bench this week. So he definitely picked somebody up because he's not going to play. The two Johnsons he had, a combined quick maths, 23 points. Not the best, but not the worst. It kept him in the game. Eckler, he has really good running backs. And then he has Odell and Sammy. Well, this is a good team. He'll definitely be in the mix. And he's got a good solid bench there, too, with Diggs and Gordon. He doesn't have much running back depth, but all that depth is in his lineup. So, Hassan, I mean, Breeze. I mean, that's kind of what the explanation is. I mean, if he had anything from his starting quarterback, he would have won. But Breeze got hurt in the early part of the game, got knocked out, and that's what ended up screwing him over. Also, he has really two good tight ends. It'd be interesting to see if he starts two tight ends, considering how good Andrews has been. Good pickup. I believe he might have drafted Tyrell Williams, or I forget. Let me see what he did. Where is this tab? Drafted, and he drafted him in the 10th round. That was a very good pick by Hassan. And yeah, so Hassan's team's fine too. I'm playing him this week, I think, too. So that stinks. S said won against Fawad by 10 points. Kind of a low scoring week by everybody, considering what last week's scores were. Mahomes, very good pick by him. I can't believe it. I think we were even talking in the PS4 party chat at the time that he got him at a very good value. I was thinking Yates was going to take him in the second or third round. I believe he got him in the fourth. He got him in the fifth. Yeah, he got him with the 41st overall. I don't think Mahomes fell in any of my other drafts that late. So that was a really good value by his son. Also taking Saquon over McCaffrey because he said he was going to take McCaffrey, and Saquon's been the right pick so far. I personally would have took Zeke. I told him that. But Saquon has definitely lived up to that pick so far. Keenan Allen, very good year by him so far. Mike Evans, not so great, but there should be more favorable matchups coming for him soon. Let's see, yeah, so Adrian Peterson's going to be the starting running back going forward for a little bit, so that'll help him a lot. He did start James White, so it'll be interesting to see if he starts James White or Adrian Peterson this week. I think he'll probably start James White because I think AP's playing the Bears, so yeah. Fawad's team, he's got Dak, so that's good. I mean, McCaffrey versus Tampa, you would think that's like a points bonanza, but that's not what happened. So that stinks. That was kind of bad luck for him. And basically the Thursday night game kind of screwed him over, and OJ had no points. So he had to make the decision between Gio and Mixon, and the decision was not to pick them at all. Unfortunately, he sat Antonio Brown, which I think ended up kind of costing him. Yeah. Or if he started Antonio Brown over Mixon or Bernard, he would have won. But that's a tough decision to make because the Antonio Brown thing. I don't even know. Do you know to start him this week? You never know when to start him, so that sucks. Don't blame him for that whatsoever. So it'll be interesting to see what he does the following week. I can almost guarantee you that Dante Moncrief is not on Fawad's roster anymore. Dante Moncrief might be one of the worst players so far this year. Let me see if I can pick him up. Yeah, he dropped him. Yeah, I told you. So he's been horrendous. He's been absolutely terrible. Let's take a look at the matchups for Week 3. We got me and Hassan. That's a rivalry matchup. I have Derrick Henry tonight and Delaney Walker. I'm not sure about having that many Titans on one team, but I guess those are the two you would want. You got Raheel, the number 1 team, going against George, the number 5. Billy going against Kaleem, who really need to win this week. You never want to start a year 0-3. Especially this year, since it's not based off points for the last playoff spot. It's based off wins. You got Yates going against Mo. I believe that's Yates. No, that's not Yates. Is that SN? That is SN. SN keeps changing his freaking name. That is a rivalry matchup. SN versus Mo. And then you got Fawad versus Yates. There you go. You got some really good matchups this week. I like this. So that's it. That's it for the recap this week. Sorry it came out so late. It's actually 8/19. The Week 3 starts exactly right now. So that's it, guys. There was a trade for this week was Juju and Hyde for Derrick Henry, which is basically as even as trades could be. So that's all that really happened. I hope everyone enjoys this week, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and has a nice day. Go Titans!